powerlifting, I absolutely loved it. But it wasn't until I actually went and watched a strongman show that I was watching it and I just thought, you know what, that looks like so much fun. And it was just pure excitement from watching it. I thought, I'm going to give this a go. For about a year before, Shane and Mitch had both said to me as well, they're like, why don't you have a go at strongman? And I was like, I toyed with the idea of it, but in my head, I was like, I've got goals in powerlifting that I want to achieve, and I'm not doing anything until I've like hit 900 total and all that shit. Then it was obviously, luckily, I took the fucking step, started like training strongman. I think I'd probably been doing it in the gym, sort of doing my own thing for about 2 weeks, and then that's when I contacted you. And I think we started on like the 4th of January, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah. So I think I'd done my first ever strongman session. I think it was like mid-December, just before Christmas. So it really wasn't long at all. Like I knew from powerlifting that if I was going to do it, I need coaching. And obviously, it's not just squat, bench, deadlift, is it? You got fucking so many different events. I am walking into this blind. So obviously, you'd been recommended to me anyway, and I'd gone through your Instagram and all the content you put out anyway. It was like apparently clear straight away that you're very technical, and I thought if I'm gonna start something new, I need to get the tech down first of all, because I did it on my powerlifting. My deadlift went up quite a bit in a short amount of time, but with bad technique. And then when I got into the heavier weights, it fucking plateaued me. And then I spent a good year trying to unfuck my deadlift before I ever got any progression out of it again. So that's the last thing I wanted to do in strongman. I just thought, learn it right from the start. And if it takes longer, it takes longer. But at least in the long run, I'm going to be saving time. So that's sort of why I chose to obviously work with you.
So just before we go into the nutrition, like I think that it's been a beautiful partnership so far, because for me it's like the perfect thing, because it's like you've got the stuff for me that takes ages and ages and years and years and years is improving your force production, and in terms of like in terms of your strength, like which you've got that amazing base. Like for people who don't know, what were your SBD numbers? Like, what's your best total or best training total?
All right, so when I was powerlifting, I did a 350 squat, but to be honest, that was the last powerlifting competition I did, and I left it at 350 because it turned out I had fucking COVID, which I didn't know. So I was feeling rough, but honest to God, I believed if I put 370, 375 on the bar that day, I would have squat it. But in competition, 350 was my best. I did a 200 bench and a 330 deadlift.
Yeah,
that was sort of like my powerlifting numbers.
So you've done what have you done since? You've done 220 bench, haven't you? 220.
I've benched 227.5
in the gym. Yeah.
Yeah, but this is the other thing as well, right? When we started with the strongman, we didn't do any bench press, did we? I literally stopped benching overnight because there's no need for a bench press unless you're doing incline or something. You ain't got a flat bench in strongman.
Yeah, well,
it just restricted my mobility more.
Yeah, I just kept it in just to keep you sweet.
Yeah. I don't think I benched for literally, I hadn't been under a bench press in about 4 months, just been training overhead and stuff. And then I was actually waiting for my missus to pick me up one night because my car was being MOT'd. So I had a bit of spare time in the gym, and I put fucking 215 on and I pressed it like a second attempt in a comp. And I still had more to go. And I was thinking fuck me, where'd that come from? And then I think, and then we played with that for a little bit, didn't we? We put it back in the program, obviously, like I say, to keep me sweet. Then I pressed 500 pounds. And then I started to after that, that was a goal I'd always had, is to press 500 pounds. So once I'd done that, I could almost right, I could forget about the bench now. But then I realized that it was affecting my overhead as well. Like my mobility was then getting worse because I was flat benching heavy all the time. Yeah. So I think we had the conversation, didn't we? And I was like, whatever we need to do it. If that means fucking bench off, then we'll fuck bench off. If it's not important, it don't need to be in the program. I only want what's in my program is going to help for the next goal. If it ain't, then what's the point?
Yeah, and your overhead is significantly better since then. Technically, holding that overhead, the rack and the dip position, it's just just brilliant. You look at that Viking set from the other day, and you look at the explosion through the legs, like because that was the thing that I was concerned with you at first. I was thinking that you were doing some stuff like training with Mitch, and you were doing training with Mitch and Shane, and doing some like really good strict press, like really strong strict press on the log, and you look really comfortable. And you could almost be tempted to go down the line of just getting like you'd see really quick gains on that. But I just feel like your ceiling's going to be so much higher, learning the technicalities of the leg drive, of which now you're starting to. It's taken a while, but you're starting to pay off. And you look at the line that you're pressing on now, you're actually like you.
It's getting better, isn't it? It's definitely coming on.
So much better. But
it's like, I think when I started, like my best log was like a shit 130. Then we got it up around like 140, and then I think like as we started to move through the SEL and we were really drilling log, I think just before the finals, like the last heavy log session I did a double with 165, and one of them was I think I did the first rep strict, and then the second then I dropped it to the floor, cleaned it again, and then did 1 rep push press, and that was like. It just fucking it just went mental all of a sudden, didn't it? It just started clicking again.
I think that's made it click. Doing the obviously the more volume, the rep work from the chest, but also getting you to see, like teaching the principles of videoing it from the side and just saying, look, get it in a perfectly straight line, get rid of that fucking banana arc that everybody does at the front. It's got to be a straight line, and it's got to be ever so slightly back. And since you've like started videoing the sides and uploading from the sides, like it's definitely improved drastically.
It's like I know one of the biggest things in my log as well, like obviously the mobility is what's letting me down. I can put more over my head. That like I've got the strength to do more than I can currently do. I know I have. It's just all that technique. But my job is I dig holes all day every day. So like I'm shoveling all the time. So my upper back is always pretty tight. My lats are tight because I'm fucking throwing dirt around. And it's just something I know I just got to keep on top of my physio. And the more I do, the better it is. But again, it's just like say my job's my job, and I can't really help that right now. So I just got to work around it as best as I can. But I know that is a limiting factor in part of the reason why I have poor mobility. But I just got to keep on top of it. But I think we can push log further this year than we did last year, 100%. Like
100%, mate. Like I sent you the numbers the other day, didn't I? There's like little things in your head to get up to past